No. We're reacting to our Premier League predictions. We can't do this video, Dad. We're going to get roasted.
Don't make me do this video, Theo, because I have been appalling this season. How do you think you've done?
Appalling as well. I haven't checked. This is going to be a live reaction. Now, if we get 10,000 likes, we'll go one step worse. We're going to film our reaction to our championship predictions.
No, that isn't going to happen.
And after seeing who's got promoted, we have some howlers. Let's get straight into the Premier League. What is the first team we're talking about?
It's got to be Arsenal. You said 6th. I said 6th. They were actually 2nd, and nobody saw this two-horse race of a season happening, did they, Theo? And Mikel Arteta, they kept him. They kept their key players like Saka and Martinelli.
Well, we thought Europa League and they were in a Premier League title race. In fact, they were on top of the Premier League for nearly 200 days. I can't believe how they bottled it at the end. I think the big difference here, people underrated those transfers. The likes of Ramsdale, people were saying, oh, Sheffield United, this and that, he's not going to be able to produce it in the Premier League. He proved them wrong. Mikel Arteta kept momentum going for so long that they nearly won the bloody damn thing. 20 years anniversary since their golden trophy. Thogden, what was the real reason for their success and better than both our 6th place predictions?
Well, I think it's a combination of stability, Theo. They didn't make that many changes, but the changes they made were clever.
Yeah.
Jesus came in.
Loved it.
Zinchenko came in. And you know what? Ødegaard had a wonderful season. He was one of my top 5 players of the season.
Dad, they brought in Premier League winners and they got so close to it. But is the big question, Mikel Arteta, is he a winner? Is he a Jose Mourinho? Did he bottle it in the games like Southampton at home in the 3-3? I'll let the comments decide. Next year, will Arsenal be in a title race? That will be saved for our Premier League predictions.
Aston Villa, you said 9th, I said 10th. They were actually 7th, Theo, and they made a poor start to the season, but they came back very strongly under Unai Emery. Is this all about the manager?
I think so. It changed round from Steven Gerrard. We were predicting 9th place with the Liverpudlian. Unai Emery came in, he changed their season. He brought confidence back into those players. And on the final day, they won when Tottenham and Brentford were really on their arse. And they got Conference League football. They're on a European tour. They are celebrating. But Thogdad, where would they have finished under Steven Gerrard?
Oh my goodness, I think low to mid-table. This is a club, Theo, who's invested heavily since they sold Jack Grealish 2 seasons ago.
Yes.
They've spent a couple of £100 million. I don't know the exact number, and they've spent it well. But Ollie Watkins, what a season he had. I saw this coming.
Well, all the credit will go to Ollie Watkins, but I sat down here a year ago and I said, watch out for one man, and his name is Jacob Ramsey. And everybody laughed at me. They thought he wouldn't even play the full season, and he did. And he's got an incredible amount of contributions. He has played unreal. Ollie Watkins will get the credit, but get Jacob Ramsey in that England squad. Enjoy your European tour. Aston Villa, you've overperformed.
AFC Bournemouth, 20th.
No.
20th.
No.
They were 15th. But Theo, let's defend ourselves a little bit. They had the 2nd worst goal difference in the league, conceded 71 games. The only reason they stayed up, those 4 wins in 6 games at the end of the season.
Well, they memed us on Twitter, they made us viral, but they also made Gary Neville, they made Vizza, they've got every pundit under the sun, Tom Garrett, everybody that made a prediction, Spencer, literally, even Jamie Carragher. Nobody said Bournemouth would stay up. As Rory Jennings said in his own words, Bournemouth are down, water is wet. He proved us all wrong. Gary O'Neill, the Bolton legend, the man that came into our club when we had financial problems, worked his arse off in the Championship, helped us survive, and tell you what, Dad, he is a leader. He provides motivation. They can go home and away and they can perform. One of the lowest squad budgets in the league, one of the smallest fan bases in the Premier League, yet it doesn't matter. They perform on the pitch week in, week out, and they remain a Premier League club. And to all the Cherries fans, I'm sorry we got this so wrong.
Yeah, I can't believe you're quoting Rory Jennings, but the key here, Theo, is that they won 11 games. I know that sounds obvious, but Big Sam back in the day at Bolton, he used to say, I need to win 10 games this season. You win 11 games, doesn't matter that you conceded 71 goals, but my worry is next season.
But they need to hold on to their best players, don't they?
Yes.
We've seen a lot of teams interested in the likes of Jefferson Lerma. I think Solanke holding on to him is absolutely crucial. They've got a young squad. It's exciting. I can see them surviving again, but we will save that for the future video. Congratulations, Bournemouth. Any final words?
Well done, Bournemouth. Brentford, you said 15th. I said 15th. They were actually 9th, and they were 90 minutes away from getting into Europe. And all I can say, Brentford, What an excellent team. What an excellent club. And the thing about them, Theo, it's all about the whole. It's all about the team. It's not about individuals.
Yeah.
Most people talk about Ivan Toney and his goals, and by the way, what a player. But it's about more than him, isn't it?
Well, they're the only team in the world to have done the double over Man City, been unbeaten
Yeah.
this season. No other club can say that statement. And remember, Dad, you were there on the final day with their fans. They've got a new stadium, Matthew Benham as the manager, the likes of Jensen, nobody knew him, and now he could be going for big money to massive football clubs. Do you know what? When we sat here a year ago and said 15th, many people were saying they'd get relegated. Many people, they were saying there'd been a relegation battle. How Brentford have proved the masses wrong.
Yes, Theo. I mean, I was there yesterday. They are a very hard team to break down. The weakened City team didn't really know what to do, Theo.
No.
You've got David Raya in goal. What a goalkeeper that is.
He is historic. I mean, some of the saves he's made this season has kept them in it.
Yes, Rico Henry, what a player. Pennock is one of the players of the season. One of the unsung heroes
And
of the
Buemo,
league.
consistently, him and Wissa will get contributions and you won't even hear a word about them. Brentford, to all the Beast fans, I hope you're drinking down the Griffin. Congratulations, you could be going Europe next season.
Brighton and Hove Albion, 11th. It doesn't get any better. 6th place. And did you know Brighton were the 4th highest scorers in the league this season? But let's look back to the start of the season. Potter was there, Theo.
Potter was there.
Mitoma and Encisa were just come in. We didn't know about these players. Well, you did actually.
And when Potter was headhunted by Chelsea, how did they have De Zerbi lined up in the middle of a season? And by the way, when Mitoma signed for pennies, when Estupiñán came in, he was a Champions League semi-finalist. We knew a little bit about him. But did anyone expect their signings to be as good? You know, how much Evan Ferguson has blossomed this year. It's no surprises that they're in the Europa League. But just so many hidden talents. This is one of the shocks of the season, isn't it?
Well, you know what, Theo? Tony Bloom is the owner of Brighton. Matthew Benham is the owner of Brentford. And they finished 6th and 9th. And that is no coincidence, because these clubs are superbly well run.
Yeah.
These clubs can find players that nobody else can find.
And it's not just about the Premier League, it's the cup runs, it's the trip to Wembley where they put United all the way to penalties and arguably were the better team that day. They have done wonders. They need to hold on to most of their players. I know McAllister has announced that he's leaving to Liverpool, which will be a big blow. But I'm surprised that Brighton are worried. They'll find a replacement. They always seem to do it. So Brighton, I wish you all the best. Incredible season. Could we see a Europa League run next year?
Why not, Theo? Why not? And now for the 6th best team in London this season, it is Chelsea, 4th, 5th. They were actually 12th. And my question is, Theo, should we have seen this coming? Because at the start of the season, Chelsea had a really bad pre-season. They had ageing players. They had issues behind the scenes with the ownership. Should we have seen this coming?
Yeah, we really should have. 4 managers they've had since the start of the season. Dad, they started the season with Thomas Tuchel. He's just won the league with Bayern. He's gone and taken a new job and a break. We had a World Cup in the middle of the season. I swear the start of the year, it feels about 5 years ago. Chelsea have been through many different chapters. Even their ownership has changed. Unbelievable. But in the summer, when they were splashing the cash on the likes of Raheem Sterling,
yes,
a Premier League winner,
6 goals all season,
Koulibaly, who was running that back line for Napoli, Dad, the investment was insane. And with a manager like Thomas Tuchel, we sort of thought he would get it right. But it turned out those managers, they didn't choose the signings. It was the owner. So when he sacked him and brought in Potter, that's when things started to fall wrong. But we never expected that all to go down. They've now got Poch. They've sacked Potter. They've had Lampard. They've got Poch now. It's a mad season. And it's no surprises that we've got this wrong, but I think a lot of people did.
It's a complete and utter mess. Now, Chelsea have got the most expensive squad in the world, there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
No way in the world should they be 12th in their domestic league. My question is, can you go from here to Champions League in 12 months?
Yes, I think you can. With the amount of signings they're going to be making, with the money that they've invested.
But they made loads of signings this year,
The
Theo.
players that they've got already, they will improve when they have a proper pre-season under a top coach like the likes of Enzo Fernandez is going to shine on a Pochettino. Mudryk, I want to see more of him. When he fits a tactic, he can get this one right. Chelsea fans, keep the faith. You can turn this around.
Crystal Palace, 12th. They were actually 11th. And this is a team who is quite tight. We got one right. They're quite tight defensively. And on their day, they're super exciting up front. But it took a loss of a manager, Patrick Vieira. I'm still a bit saddened by that.
A year ago, I said Eze and Elise will cook. And Elise got double figures assists. And Eze got double figures goals. They both smashed it. And I'm excited for them. But with Patrick Vieira sacked, I never thought they'd rehire Roy Hodgson, the oldest manager in Premier League history, and actually improve improved their form drastically.
Yes, but my question is, where do Crystal Palace go from here? Do they have the ambition to push for higher? And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's fair enough if they say every year we're going to be 10th to 14th and safely stay up. That is fair enough.
But Dad, they actually invest in the little things like the academy and the stuff we don't see. Improving players from the youth academies. So in the future years, they can be pushing for European spots. And I like that. It's not all about splashing the cash and making big money signings to keep the fans happy. No, the fans are invested in a long-term project. So I think Palace, in the long term, will be going in the right direction. But will Roy Hodgson be there next year? And who will be the next players to shine? We will soon find out. Will we sit here and really predict them to get a European spot next year?
Everton, you said 17th. I said 14th. They were 17th.
Spot on
all
from Soggy.
season, absolutely. They won 8 games.
Dad.
They scored 34 goals all season. Survived on the last day.
I think I said they'd survive on the last day as well.
I think you got this
I said
absolutely right.
it would go down to the final day between Leeds and Everton. That is weird how much I got that right. That is freaky.
It is, Theo, but next year they'll be moving into their new ground. But will we see the same thing on the pitch next season?
Yes, I think we will. Everton are moving to the new stadium, and that will be a distraction. It's also a lot of investment and a lot of change around the club. I also don't think that Sean Dyche has a massive budget to play with because of how much that is costing. So I think Everton will be in and about a relegation battle, but I do believe they can survive again. It's been a very tough season. I think most Toffees fans are just happy that it's over. DCL, for two-thirds of Sean Dyche's time, he's not been available.
Correct.
He needs to have a full season. Get Richarlison back on loan. I'm joking, only dreaming. But imagine the scenes if they did that.
That would be brilliant. But Everton, well done for staying up. But I think next season could be long and hard. Newly promoted Fulham. You said 19th. Wait for this one. I said 19th. And they were 10th. Now, the thing is, Theo, in our favour, the last time Fulham got to the Premier League, they invested very, very badly.
Very badly.
This time, very well.
They spent a lot, and a lot of people were judging their spending. We both put them to get relegated. What was different, Dad? They invested in the right places. They brought back Willian. He had a good year.
Yeah.
As you said, Paulinho. What a purchase. It feels like he signed for Fulham about 2 years ago. And it was at the start of the season. That's incredible.
Absolutely. Mitrovic, when he wasn't suspended for attacking a referee, 14 goals in 24 games. He performed, didn't he, Theo?
Yes, the whole club just clicked. And with Marco Silva, the real credit deserves to him because he got the style of play working. He got Mitrovic cooking, and the rest is history. Very close to a cheeky European run. Maybe it was because of that suspension at the end, which was very unfortunate. But they really fought until the end. Unfortunate to lose to Man United, especially after leading. And overall, just a great year. And Fulham will be back in the Premier League. I'm excited to see if they can really push on from here.
Leeds United, 18th, 17th, they were 19th.
Yes.
They've been relegated. 7 wins all season, worst defence in the league. The Leeds fans that I've spoken to are philosophical. They say we didn't deserve it.
Well, I said them to get relegated. You said they'd stay up by the nick of their teeth.
Day,
on the last day?
I think I said that.
I think I said they get relegated on the last day to Everton, and it really did go down to the final few minutes when Decore slotted that ball home. That's when it changed. But they fought well in some of those matches. Should have beat West Ham. Should have beat Newcastle if it wasn't for Bamford on another day. It's difficult. But I did say in my predictions a year ago that them and Everton would go down to the final day, and it really did. They lost 4-1 to Tottenham. They got smashed. They deserved to go down. It wasn't good enough, was it?
Not good enough, Theo. The squad isn't good enough. There won't be teams poaching their players.
Yeah, Bamford wasn't the same as last year. He scored goals for fun. We've just not seen the same form since that injury. I think reload in the Championship, get some out youth in, play Archie Gray. You've got loads of good academy players, and Leeds will be back sooner than you know it.
Leicester City
now,
my God.
10th.
7th, they were 18th. And I've got a question for you, Theo. I mean, this is a team who scored the same goals as Aston Villa this season. They've got James Maddison, who is a brilliant player. How can they possibly go down?
Dad, I do not explain it. I did go on Sky Sports and said the underperformers of the Premier League season will be Leicester City. But my God, I put 10th here. I don't know what I was thinking. They are having a howler. But some people put them for Europe.
I know
people a year ago really thought Leicester were going in the right direction under Brendan Rodgers. Why did it go so wrong, Dad?
Well, Theo, at the start of the season, they lost Wesley Fofana. They didn't really invest, did they?
Yeah, well, they replaced him with Wout Faes. How did that go? Not good enough.
Not very well.
Not quite. Soyuncu. And Soyuncu's not even been the same since his old seasons. I just don't get it. It's all fallen apart. And quite frankly, Leicester, they've now got the nicest training ground in England, and it's playing in the Championship. I mean, put pictures on the screen. That place is a 5-star hotel. It's better than the England training ground, St. George's Park. Why? I mean, Theo, football is mad.
Why didn't they buy or develop some defenders? That's where it went wrong.
Yes.
At the back. Their defence has been woeful, has been comic at times.
I was there at home to Everton. How can you not win Everton at home?
Would you have kept Brendan Rodgers?
No, it's hard. I would have appointed someone better. And I just don't know what's going to happen now. It's going to be a fire sale.
Yeah,
it's going to be a fire sale.
7 years ago, and 7 years later, you're off to the Championship.
They need the payments of these players being sold to even pay for the training ground and continue the facilities that they want to stay in, because will they come straight back up? Leicester is a well-known club. They got Premier League under their belt, but the last few years have been awful for them.
Liverpool Football Club, second. They were fifth. Now, they ended the season very, very strongly. Only Brentford pushed them towards the end in terms of form, interestingly, but not quite the Liverpool we remember.
Well, very close to Champions League. You saw Salah's post, how sad he was to not make top four. And it's mad to think that they were in the second half of the table for a lot of the year. They were awful. They were tired. We predicted second, and I don't think it's that much of a howler, because next year, I fully back Liverpool to be back in the title race.
Look, I like what Salah said, because that shows a winning mentality. Liverpool Football Club should be in the Champions League every single year, and they're not. Now, at the start of the season, they lost Sadio Mane. That was a big blow. Also, they didn't invest in midfield.
Because part of the problem is when they were playing in so many different competitions last year, like 3 or 4 different ones, they were going for the quadruple, right? They were still playing the same players in every single game. And I know Jurgen Klopp likes his same team, but they got so tired and wound out and mentally finished that they just couldn't do it the next year. And that's why they had such a headache, such a fall off. And now they're back to their best. I want to see great investments. McAllister's a good signing. That's basically done. I think they're going to be back next year.
Manchester City, first. They are actually first.
There we go.
I actually said in the video they would win everything. Now, they didn't win the League Cup, did they? But they might win the treble. They've been superb.
Destroying the establishment, aren't they, Thogdan? Winning it all. Haaland had an incredible season, as we both predicted. We saw what he did at Dortmund, and we stuck to our word. This has been an absolutely brilliant team. They may not be Centurions, but in some ways, they are going to have an even better season, because they're still up for a treble, aren't they?
Absolutely. They scored the most goals in the league. They had the joint best defensive record with Newcastle. They won the league by 5 points, but they were cruising the last couple of games. You've got to mention Kevin De Bruyne. Has he been the best player in the league this season?
I don't think we can end De Bruyne's career without a Ballon d'Or. He has to win one. And maybe it's this year. If they bring home the Champions League, I think KDB has got to win that trophy, for sure.
He's got to be in the race for that, but there again, so is Erling Haaland. And somebody who's going to be brilliant next season is Jack Grealish.
I thought he was brilliant this season, and I think I was going to mention him. Him and Ilkay Gundogan, they are the underrated cause of this team. And the likes of Rico Lewis breaking through. I'm excited for City in the future. Great tactics, great season. Pep Guardiola has changed football.
Manchester United Football Club, 5th, 4th. They were actually 3rd. Now, remember the start of the season. Cristiano Ronaldo was still there. Ten Hag had come in. People weren't sure about him. Casemiro came in. Some people criticised that. It's been an interesting season. It's not been spectacular in terms of goals scored.
I think they've had a great year. Ten Hag has brought the most wins as a debut coach at Man United than anybody else in history.
Defensively, they've been very good. And what I like about Man United, Theo, is this winning mentality that comes from the manager. They don't draw very often, they win.
And it's arrived ever since they sold Cristiano Ronaldo. I said the best thing they could do as a football club is get rid of him, and they did.
Bruno Fernandes, 8 goals, 8 assists. He's been excellent this season. He's been better than those stats suggest. I do think Man United have got to spend some money. They've got to sort out the ownership situation, haven't they? Will a new owner come in? What will they do?
When is it going to happen? Because then they need a summer transfer window. Will it be a Glazers sort of window, or will it be a Qatari money or whatever? But Marcus Rashford, what a career changer. And let's give him the credit he deserves.
And Casemiro, of course, he's come in and he has been excellent. So United, they went 11 hours at home without conceding. For me, that was the key. Very hard to beat. Lots of 1-0 wins, lots of clean sheets. Man United, good season. Newcastle United, 7th, 9th. They were actually 4th. And I tell you what, that has been a massive overperformance. This is not about buying league position, because they've not really spent the money yet. Superb season.
Incredible. I know they've had the money, but Eddie Howe deserves all the credit. Him and his assistant. Don't forget the assistant. He loves it. But as a squad, you know, the whole staff, they've made it work. The likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, the way they've linked the season, Alexander Isak to come in and be so prolific. And they've got Champions League nights now, don't they?
They do, Theo. The names I'd mentioned, Callum Wilson, you've already mentioned, 18 goals this season. What a superb player. So underrated, Theo. Kieran Trippier.
Wow.
He's been a top 10 player in the whole league this season. Newcastle, hard to beat, only lost 5 games all season.
Yes,
Brilliant.
there's definitely a few more positions they need to improve on, like left back. I think someone could really fight Dan Burn for that role. I'm actually very excited to see what they do. Could we see Neymar to the Geordie side of...
Well, you know what?
You never know.
It's going to be an incremental thing. They're not spending the money all at once like Chelsea did there. They're going to make 2 key transfers every single year for the next 5 years.
Well, I predicted 7th, and a lot of people were like, wow, Europa League spot, that's crazy. Well, they got 4th. They're in the Champions League. That's insane work. So, yeah, over-exceeding massively.
Nottingham Forest, 16th, 18th. They were 16th. And I
Yes!
tell you what here,
Come on!
you call this absolutely correctly. In the video in August last year, you talked about Steve Cooper, you talked about Brennan Johnson. How did you know?
Morgan Gibbs-White, people roasted him for the price tag, but he did deliver. I know it's weird to talk about the fans, but I really felt they had a boost. Their home record really kept them up. And I mentioned one man from Union Berlin, Taiwo Awoniyi, and for most of the season, I just checked the flash score and I thought, he's not performing like he did in the Bundesliga. And then at the end, he just went goal crazy, didn't he? He scored about 6 goals in the last 4 games.
And I think that is the key. Nottingham Forest kept going right to the end. 8 points in the last 4 games, whereas Big Sam got 1 point in the last 4 games.
That's the difference. When everyone was saying Steve Cooper might get sacked, they gave him a new contract. They supported him, they backed him, and that is the way to truly run a club. They're surviving, and I think they're going to step in the right direction. Well done to the Forest boys.
Southampton, 14th, 16th, 20th, rock bottom, Theo, lost 25 games, didn't score enough goals, let in too many goals. Really, it was poor, wasn't it?
Dad, how did I put Southampton 14th? What was I thinking?
I don't know. The problem is a lot of Southampton fans were giving us stick, weren't they? They were like, we're not going to finish 16th or 14th. We're going to do better than that.
Yeah.
It all came crashing down. The signings they made just didn't work.
Well, they've been through 3 managers, haven't they?
They have.
Hazenhutel, and then they had Nathan Jones, didn't work. Then Ruben Selles, and I liked him, but they've now got rid of him, and they're going to bring in the Swansea gaffer, 4 managers since we've... this is why, reacting to our Premier League predictions, it's guesswork.
It is.
We would have never thought 4 managers at Southampton and Chelsea.
But next season, can Southampton bounce back? Because the Championship, it's a good league.
Yeah, it's a good league. It depends who they keep. They got the like of Alcaraz. It will smash in the Championship if they hold on to it.
Ward-Prowse is surely going to leave.
Ward-Prowse is going to leave. I don't know how Southampton are going to go about their business. Are they going to convince the players to stay just for 1 year so they can get automatic promotion, get back in the Prem, and get back to where they belong? Or will it be a tough time where a lot of players are forcing a move because they don't really know what the manager is, what the situation is at the club? It's going to be weird. I will be looking out, but we were definitely very wrong, so we apologise on that.
Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Antonio Conte is the manager at the start of the season. Third. They were 8th. And you know what? If you've been to every Tottenham game this season, 133 goals. The problem was 63 of them were in the wrong net.
Awful. I'm surprised they got more goals scored than against.
Well, their defensive record is worse than West Ham, worse than Everton. That is the problem. Harry Kane. Let's big him up. 30 goals this season.
Legend.
His XG was 21.5.
2 goals against Leeds away on the last day.
I predicted that.
That's amazing. 30 goals and people aren't talking about it. Everyone's giving Haaland the credit. Kane is an absolute English god of football. I mean, if he could only do it in the big games, like I'm talking the really, really big games, the ones, England at the World Cup when we were playing France, and the fact that he went to the World Cup, went through a tough patch there, came back and still scored goals for fun in the Prem. This guy's a robot. Will he be at Tottenham next year, be honest?
I don't know. I think the likes of Manchester United and Real Madrid and some other huge European teams should be looking at it.
He's going to stay in England to break that Premier League record. You can see how motivated he is to do that.
Yeah.
The amount of stats he's breaking in this English Football League, he wants to be here.
Without Kane this season, Spurs would have been 12th, 13th, 14th. They might have been in a relegation fight.
Next year it could be relegation.
It's so dysfunctional, isn't it?
That stadium could be in the Championship soon. Spurs fans are going to piss. They're going to be so angry. Right. I'm sorry, it's a horrible year.
West Ham United 8th. They're actually 14th. Is this the curse of Europe? They might win a trophy in Europe. They shouldn't really be in a relegation fight, should they?
No, it's been a bad year for David Moyes. People were saying Moyes out at one point, and now he could be bringing home a European trophy. That's the peaks and troughs of West Ham United this season. You just can't predict it, can you?
You can't. Declan Rice, brilliant player, but will he be going?
I think it was his final home game. When he scored, the way he looked to the crowd, the way he clapped them at the end, I think he's done. And next year it could be tough to replace him, but they will get a good price tag for him. So could he end it on a Conference League trophy? There's a very high possibility.
I predict they're going to lose that final. I think Fiorentina are a better team. We saw them last week in Italy. And I don't think that's a bad thing for West Ham, because if West Ham win that final, they get into the Europa League. Do they really want to be in Europe again? Have they got the squad for that? And finally, Wolverhampton Wanderers, 13th. They were 13th.
Yes!
We got one right
And
there.
imagine they actually had a forward who could score goals. Maybe they'd be in Europe.
Theo, 31 goals all season. No team scored less than Wolverhampton Wanderers, but they picked up enough 1-0 wins to stay
at
up.
home. It's brilliant. They defend so well, but then they go away and get smashed on the Arsenal last game of the season. They got battered on so many weird occasions.
They did, Theo, but we have to end this with the scores. I got -82, you got -74, which is better.
Yes!
You are the winner
Get
this
in!
season.
I won something. Let's not talk about game week predictions, how that ended.
Yeah.
Absolute scenes there. I've done it. I've got the ball knowledge. Maybe not in the game week predictions. We won't talk about that, Thog Dad. But 10k likes, and we will react to our championship predictions. Surely it can't go worse than what we just witnessed. I think it can. Subscribe for more. We'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.